Welcome everyone. Today we'll be talking about the day 1 of the foundation course, and this day 1 course is divided into 10 sections. In that, today we'll be talking about your section 2, creating new projects. So if you would like to create a new projects here, make sure you go to your my projects window, and here at the first you will have something known as create new projects. Place your cursor and click it, or on top right also you will see something known as new 3D project. You can click it as well. So once you selected it, this will proceed with creating a new project. And before creating a new project, this will open up a window where you will see two options. One is called draw and another one is called import floor plan. But to understand this, first let's just look into what is the phase of creating an interior modeling. If you're creating a 3D model for any of your interior projects, it generally goes to this two phase. One is your basic model and another one is your interior model. Generally, before starting up with your interior modeling, we'll first try to model your floor, wall, ceiling. We'll try to create your door opening, window opening. We'll try to place your door and windows, right? This is what we call it as basic model. And once your basic modeling is done, you'll be taking your furniture model, placing it in your project. Then you'll be creating your wall panel, false ceiling, playing with finishes. You will create your lightings appropriately, and together you'll complete your interior modeling. This phase is what we call it as interior modeling. When it comes to basic modeling in this tool, you can do that in two ways. One is using draw, another one using import. Draw is nothing but the conventional way of doing everything from the scratch, where the tool will just provide you with an empty working window where you have to create your flooring, wall, ceiling, door, window opening and all those things, right? That is what draw. There is also another time efficient option, which is your second option named import floor plan, where all you need is a floor plan of the project, and that floor plan could either be in image, JPEG, PNG or WPG formats, or that could even be your PDF, or it can even be your DWG CAD file as well. If you have the floor plan in any of these formats, you can directly import it, and the tool itself will automatically analyze that floor plan and it will build your basic model just in seconds. In this course, we'll be talking about how we can use this import floor plan option. That is because majority of the designers currently, if they are starting with the project, they'll have the floor plan in mind. But if you don't have the floor plan, on most cases, you will at least be having a site measurement. In those cases, you can go for the draw method, where using the site measurement, you can build everything from the scratch. But if you have a floor plan, I would recommend you to please select the import floor plan option, and this will open up your browse window. Now navigate to the folder where you have the floor plan, select it, click on open. And now that selected floor plan will be uploaded, and the floor plan which I uploaded here is an image format. It's just a PNG image, and since your image is made up of pixels, it doesn't have a scale information to it. So for that scenario, you have to set a scale for this uploaded image using the scale option. So now we can just drag the scale. You can zoom into the floor plan. You can extend the length of the scale to any dimension which you are aware of in this floor plan. You can type in the actual dimension and you can generate. In my case here, I'm aware of this dimension, which is 3 feet, since that is mentioned in plan. But on majority of the cases, designers will be aware of any internal dimension of the space. In those cases, you can even place it here, adjust the length of it visually to the width here, and type in the actual dimension of that space. Okay. In my case, I'm aware of this dimension, so I can just take my scale here, place it, adjust the length of the scale visually, and here I can type in the actual distance. Here it is 3 feet and my project units are in mm. So I can do the calculation manually. If not, just right side to the units here, you have a small drop down menu. If you just click it up, it will have options to change the units as well. Remember, if you change the unit here, this won't change the unit of the project. This will only change the unit of this reference scale. So in my case here, since my drawing is in feet, I can even go for feet with fractional inches or feet with decimal inches, and I can type in, Or if you are already aware of the converted dimension, we can directly type it here. Since I'm aware of what 3 feet mm is, which is 914 mm, I can precisely typing it here. Once that is typed in, make sure on the right your auto generate option is selected and then click on confirm. So now the selected floor plan will be analyzed, will be imported based on the scale which we provided, and your 3D model for that space will automatically be built. Can you see here? The basic modeling for that space is precisely built. And always remember, if you're creating a basic model by importing, your floor, wall and ceiling will always be translucent. If you want to make it like an opaque surface, on the right hand side here, you have something called opacity, shortcut is Y, where try to increase the opacity to 100. So all your surfaces will be solid and opaque. So before proceeding up with the generated 3D model, first let's just try to understand what this window is and what is the UI systems. So this window is called as main modeling window, where you'll be able to do your basic modeling, your interior modeling, your wall finish, floor finish, ceiling, everything can be done using this single window. That is why it is called as your main modeling window. And if you look at the UI, user interface of this window, on top here you have a menu bar which will have some important tools. On the left here you have vertical tabs. Each tab will have some list of tools which will be useful for different aspects. On the top right here you have a preview window, where if you are in 3D in the main window, it will show you a 2D drawing of the preview, and if I'm in 2D in the main window, it will show you the 3D preview of that model of that project. In addition to that, on the right hand side you will see the parameter window. Depending on component you're selecting, you will be able to control its respective parameters on this parameter window. So first let's just try to look into your menu bar and the tools in the menu bar. So first let's just try to look into the tools which are present in your menu bar here. In that, the first tool here is your file. So if you place your cursor, you will have an option to create a new project. You will have an option to save this project. You will have an option to save as, and you can even restore the historical versions of the specific file as well. Once you created a project by importing, first try to make sure you do the first save, because while making the first save, it will ask you to type in the name of the project. You can precisely type it here. Once you type in the name of the project, click on save. Your project will be saved with that name. Here you can either click it manually, or if you notice, there is a shortcut which is mentioned right next to the name. Always remember in this tool, if a specific tool has a shortcut, it will be mentioned right next to its name. So my personal recommendation is to get used to with the shortcuts. It will drastically increase your modeling efficiency over a period of time. Let's look into what is this restore historical version here is. Let's just say that you created a project at 10 o'clock in the morning and now the time is 10:40. This tool will auto save your projects for every 5 minutes to the cloud. That way, by the time it is 10:40, it would have literally made 8 different saves. Now let's just say that at 10:40 you would like to access the file which was saved in 10:20. In that case, obviously you can undo it here. You have Control Z and Control Y, so you can undo it. But while undoing it, you can only undo it to a certain time frame, right? You can't precisely undo it to a specific timestamp or a time frame. In those cases, your restore history versions plays a very crucial role. If you click it, this will show you what are all the saves which are done for the specific projects today, where it will mention the date and the time of that save. Not only today, if you have made any save for this project yesterday, you can even access it and restore it to that point. Or if you have made any save day before yesterday or previous, you can even access it in the earlier time. All this information, what you are saying, is specific to this project alone. So that way you can select a restore point and then you can click on restore. The file will be precisely restored. But if you're planning to restore, make sure you first create a copy of the file so that your current file is saved as a separate file, and then you can use this restore history option to restore your previous file in another file. Then comes in your save. Either you can go to file option and click save, or you can even click it here or press Ctrl S to save it. Then you have your undo and redo, Control Z and Control Y. And then comes in your clear. Clear is nothing but, in this tool, if you like to delete a component, you can either select that component and press delete button in your keyboard, or in the floating window you will see a delete option. Click it, that specific component will be deleted. If you want to delete multiple components here, you can hold shift, that way you can multi-select your components and delete it together. But what if you want to select a massive number of components based on a category? That is what clear here is. So here in this clear, if you place your cursor, it will open up a drop down where you have different types of deleting a file. If you click on all, which is the first option, it will delete everything which is there in this project, where the file will become completely empty. Then comes in decoration, where if you like to delete only the decorations, or if you like to delete only the furnitures, or if you like to delete only the finishes of the furnitures, or if you like to delete only your kitchen cabinets or closet, you can even do that here. Or if you have used any reference lines here in this project, you can individually click on the reference line and delete it. Or in your clear, there will be a specific option named reference line. You can click it. All the reference line in the project will be deleted just in an instance. So next is your toolkit. This toolkit will have some list of tools which are essential during your modeling phase. But in this day one course, let's just focus on 3 important tools here. First one is your material brush, second one is your reference line, and third one is your measure tool. First, let's just look into what this first material brush tool is. Your material brush tool is nothing but your eyedropper tool, where you can copy a material from one surface and apply it to another surface. In this case, if I want to copy this material from this door, I can use this material brush to copy it, and that selected material will be attached to the cursor, and now I can literally place it on any surface so that that material will be applied. Not only on the walls, I can even place it on the floor or on the ceiling or to another door or a public library component also. It will precisely be replaced. So this is what your material brush tool here is. Your next tool under toolkit is your reference line. Shortcut is T, using which you can create a reference line. So first, if you want to create a reference line, first try to create an horizontal reference line and try to create a common vertical reference line as well. And once you created those 2 reference line, now we can create n number of parallel reference line at a specified distance. For example, I would like to create another parallel horizontal reference line at a distance of 500 mm. So in that case, I can select from the existing reference line and I can create it. So now I can type in what should be the distance here. In my case, I want to create a reference line which is 500 mm parallel to my previous reference line. So type it as 500 here, press enter. I have precisely created it. Same thing you can do for the vertical as well. If you want to create another parallel vertical reference line at a distance of 1 meter, just type in the specified distance, press enter, it will be done. And this reference line will be created like an endless reference line in this project. You can use this for multiple purposes. Now let's look into your third tool in your toolkit, which is your measure tool, which is nothing but your tape tool, using which you will be able to measure a distance between 2 vertices. So now I can select the first vertex and I can place the cursor on another vertex. It will precisely show you what is the distance. So these are the 3 important toolkits that will be focusing on your day 1 session. As we progress further to our other days of session, we'll be focusing on your other tools as well. Okay. And right next to your toolkits, you have something called image/video. If you click it, this will open up your rendering window where you can take your renders. And then comes in your gallery where you can access the renders which you have taken for this projects. And the last tool here in this menu bar is your drawings and schedules. Using this, you'll be able to generate construction drawings or detailed drawings for your project. So before we proceed further with the generated model, let's try to understand what are all the different working windows which are present in this tool. So for any project you create, you will be able to access that project in 4 different working windows, 2 2D and 2 3D working windows. So in 2D, at the bottom, first one is your floor plan. Your second working window is your ceiling plan. And then comes in your 3D working window, your top view, which is nothing but your aerial view of the project. Then comes in the walk view, which is nothing but your perspective view. And the shortcut to access this is 1, 2, 3 and 4 in your keyboard. So if you press 1 in your keyboard, it will be your floor plan. If you press 2 in your keyboard, it will be ceiling plan. 3 will be your top view and 4 will be your perspective view. And before proceeding further with any projects, make sure you first click on this display setting. Here you have an important setting which need to be toggled on, which is your wireframe. In default, it will be toggled off, where your edges won't be precisely visible. But if you toggle it on, your edges will be precisely seen. So now let's just focus on this generated model here. So though we used a floor plan to generate this model, we still have to do some basic inspections. So that the first inspection, what you could do was you can check whether there are any unwanted walls which are created from the floor plan. One of the common issue which you might encounter is that your compound wall might also be treated as an external wall and it will be generated in the model. So in those cases, we can delete these unwanted walls here just by clicking and pressing the delete button. And here can you see all this on my compound wall, and it has created that into a room. So now by deleting the wall, the room which was created will automatically be cleared. Okay, do the same thing for this. This was supposed to be the front setback, but since it has considered the compound wall as a part of the external wall, it has created that into a room. So this should be the first inspection. If there are some unwanted walls, you can delete it. The second inspection is if some walls are extended beyond the length, you can completely adjust its length. A best example is this one here. So here can you see this wall is extended till the setback region. So this shouldn't be. So I can just drag it and get it back to the position. While you are setting it back, just place it at the corner. That's it. It will auto snap to the point and it will create a seamless corner here. Same process for this one as well. If I want to adjust the length of this wall, select the wall, and can you see on the both the sides of the wall, you will see a toggle using which you'll be able to control its length precisely. So I can just drag it and adjust its length to the corner so that the corner will be precisely created. I can even do the same thing for this corner as well. Okay, so this should be your second inspection, adjusting the length of the wall. The third inspection is checking with the thickness of the wall here. So click on any wall and on the right it will show you its respective parameters. Like I said, this one is the parameter window, right? So if you click on any component, it will show you the parameter of the component. That way I'm selecting a wall. On the right hand side is showing you the parameter of the wall. One such wall parameter is your thickness. So it will precisely show you whether it is 240 also. You can just check it. 240 mm for an external wall works good. So I can select and I can check with all the external wall here. I can even do the same inspection with the internal wall as well. So select the wall and just check with the thickness. After that, the fourth inspection is regarding your openings, your window and door openings. So we can just check whether your doors and windows are placed precisely to the point. If not, you can adjust it. So here can you see the door is placed, but it is not precisely to this wall. So always remember this. If you want to move a component in this tool, you can do it in two ways. One is an intuitive way of dragging it and moving it. So let's just say that I want this window to be moved. Just select that window, left click it, drag it to the point, it will move. So this way I can just drag it to another wall and it will precisely move. So drag and move is the first method of moving a component. The disadvantage of this method is that you can't be accurate about it. For an example, if I want to move this window, at the same time I want this window to be exactly 500 mm from this wall, while moving itself I can't be precise about it. So this is one disadvantage with the first method. There is a second method of moving a component, which is a precise method. For that, you have to select the component and it will show you its respective clearance distances. Can you see here? If I select this window, it is showing me a clearance distance of this window from the adjacent window, from this window, from the internal wall as well. And now, if I want this window exactly about 20 mm from this wall, I can click that respective clearance. Right now it is 490. I can type it as 20 mm, press enter. Now this will precisely be placed at a 20 mm clearance from this wall. So this is the second method of moving a component, which is a precise method. And these methods of moving not only applies for your doors and windows, it even applies for any component in your model, including the wall. So if I want to move this wall, click on the wall, just left click, drag it and place it. It will be moved using the first method. Or if I want to move this wall precisely, select the wall, go for the second method where it will show you its respective clearance. Click on that clearance, edit it, the selected wall will precisely move to that position. Now let me just use this process to precisely position my doors and windows in this project. And now here you could also notice another thing. If I select a component which I would like to move it to the corner, it will show you its respective clearance, right? What if I want this door to be precisely at this corner? Right now it has a 97 mm clearance. In that case, click on that clearance and make it as 0. Press enter. Now this will precisely move to that corner. So always remember, making it 0 represents that there isn't any gap there, so that component will precisely move to that specific position. I can do the same process and I can position my windows and doors accordingly. So this should be your fourth inspection. And the fifth inspection that could be done is to check for some unwanted doors and window openings in the auto-generated model. For example, it has created a window here at this point, which is not actually in my plan. So I can delete this window and here there is supposed to be a sliding door. So I can do it, but I can delete it. And there was supposed to be a window which should be coming on this wall, which is not present now. No worries, I can click on the window, I can press Ctrl C and I can precisely position it that corner. And while placing although you don't need to be precise, just place it anywhere on the wall. Click on the component, it will show you the clearance distance and then you can adjust by editing that clearance distance. So that way I can delete even this window and I can precisely take this window and I can position it at the appropriate points. Now your door and window inspection is completed. And now let's do the sixth inspection for the generated model, which is to check with the parameters of the windows and door openings. So here if you notice, if I just click on this window, on the right hand side it will show you its respective parameters where you can check with the width of the window, height, thickness and above ground. Here the above ground represents the sill of the window and height represents lintel minus the sill what you typed here. So if you go to in 3D, so if I make any changes in the width, it will be updated in the model as well. Or if I make any changes in the sill height here, or the height of the window, it will precisely be updated in your model. And I can do the same inspection for all the windows and door openings here. And now all the 6 model inspections are done and your model looks precise to the design. Now we can focus on the components which are missed in the auto generation process. One common thing which you will notice is that in the auto generated model, your columns and your beams, that is your structural components, are missing here. If you want to add it, on the left in the vertical tab, click on the first vertical tab, which is floor plan. This floor plan tab will have all the tools to precisely model your basic modeling. So here can you see, you have a specific tab named here structure and opening, where you can find your column, beam and your flue. So if you want to add a column, just click it and that column will be attached to this cursor. Just place it at any position you want, and once it is placed, select the column, and this is the default width and depth which you'll get from the catalog. If you want, you can adjust it. In my case, I want a column length of about 450 mm, width of about 300 mm. That way I can adjust it. Once it is adjusted, I can just left click it, I can drag it and position it at the corner. And while placing it at the corner, you don't need to worry, because here can you see the dotted green line, that is your snap line. So it will precisely detect your external surface and it will stop at that point. So that way your first column is placed here. And now if you want to place another column, if you again take the column fresh from the catalog and place it, it will come with its default dimension of 650 x 650, where you have to again its length and width, and you have to place it at the appropriate position. Instead, since we already have a edited column here, I can select it. I can press Ctrl C, which is the duplicate shortcut, or in the floating window, can you see you have something called copy. Shortcut is Ctrl C. So just click it. I'll be able to precisely copy this, and now I can position it at the appropriate points here. And since we copied it here, I can even place it at multiple points at a time. So this way you can precisely place your columns at the required spot in your designs. Always remember this nuance. If you're planning to place a component of a similar dimension at multiple points, don't always take it fresh from the catalog again and again. Try to take it once, adjust its dimensions, keep it ready, and then you can select that edited component, press Ctrl C, or in the floating window click copy, and you can precisely duplicate it and paste it at multiple positions. This nuance will save you a lot of times when it comes to modeling a similar component. You can follow the same nuance for your beam as well. Let's just say that there is a beam which is coming right across this point. In that case, select a beam. On the right hand side, it will show you its respective parameters, which is your width of the beam and your height, which is nothing but your depth of the beam. I can adjust it here, and now I can precisely draw the points. And once the beam is drawn, can you see? It will precisely be placed. And now if you want another beam which has the same specification, you don't have to again take it here and do this process. Just select the beam which you created, press Ctrl C, and now we can precisely position at different points here. Don't worry about the direction. Once it is placed, you can click that component. It will show you with respective toggles here. Click on the end toggles, left click it, drag it, and you can rotate it precisely to the point. And while rotating, your guidelines will help you in snapping to the 90 degrees. So this way you can complete your structural component throughout the project. And once you completed this app, if you go to your 3D, you can precisely see the column which you created and the beam which is running. And once you auto generated your entire model, if you feel like you don't need this floor plan anymore, at the bottom here you have something called base map setting. Click it, where I can delete the base map, or if you want, you can even hide the base map as well. where you can delete the base map, or if you want you can even hide the base map as well. In my case I don't want to delete it, but I can hide it up so that it won't have an impact in the models here. And now let's look into the another important opening component here, which is your floor opening. If you want to create a floor opening for your project, first make sure you are in the floor plan view and then click on this floor opening here in the floor plan tab, and this will open up your edit window. In this edit window you have all the geometric components at the top, and you even have an option to create a reference line as well. So first, if you want to create a rectangular opening here, click on rectangle geometry, just click it and draw the rectangle. Right now this rectangle was drawn randomly, but if you want you can precisely draw a rectangle. For that, first click on one point, and now we can type in the length and the width of this rectangle. So if I want to create a rectangle of 1 meter in length and 1.5 meters in width, I can type the length as 1 meter, and once you typed in the length you can press tab button in your keyboard. This will help you to shift to the another dimension to edit. Right now from the length I shifted to width, and now I can edit the width to the required point and press enter. And now I precisely created the rectangle which is 1 meter in length and 1.5 meters in width. So this way you can create any openings. If you want to create any circular opening, you have circular geometry here, click it, and here when it comes to circle creation you can do it in two means. One, if you are aware of its diameter, you can click on the circumscribed corner where you can type in the diameter of the circle, or if you are aware of the radius, click on this radius and you can type in the radius of the circle. Once you typed in, press enter, a circle of specified radius will be mentioned. In addition to that, if you want to create a polygon opening, you can create that using this, or if you want to create any custom shape opening, you can even create it using the line tool also. So here using the line tool, click it, and I can precisely type in the length of this line. So in my case, if I want this line to be about 1.5 meters, type in, press enter, the line of 1.5 meter is created. And now I can continue this and I can create the further lines. Or if I want to create an angular line here, can you see you have two components here? One is your length and another one is the angle. So length I can type it here. If I want to control the angle, same shortcut, press tab. So always remember, tab shortcut will help you to shift between the dimensions so that you can edit it separately. So that way I can type in the angle here as 60 degree, and if I again press tab, it will move to the another dimension. Okay, don't worry, the previous typed in dimension will be locked. So now I can type in as 1 meter here, press enter. Now we precisely created another line which is 1 meter in length and at an obtuse angle of 60 degree. Now I can do the same process here. I can even randomly create lines, and so far all these are just single line. But if I connect this line, that is if I close this line, can you see it has created a custom shaped opening. So this way you can create any custom shaped opening as well. Or if you want, you can even combine two different geometries to create any custom shaped opening too. So here I have a rectangle. I can click on this arc tool, and now I have an option to create an arc precisely. And here when it comes to arc in this tool, it is always a 3-point arc, which means first point will decide the starting point, the second point will decide the destination point, and the third point will decide the intensity of the curve or your curve radius. In this case, I can create a radius where I can type in the radius, or I can manually select it. It will precisely create an arc. But still, it is a line here. If I want to club this and make it as one single custom shape, just select the line which is in between and press delete. So if you notice now, I created this opening at the random spot. But generally, while creating an opening, you have a specified clearance distance where you need to start the opening at a distance of so and so from this wall and a distance of so and so from the top wall also. In those cases, I would recommend you to first create a guide. Guide is nothing but your reference line, shortcut is T. So first try to create a guideline here, create a parallel line to this at exact clearance of about 500 mm. and I can create a parallel line to this surface at a clearance distance of 1 meter. So now I got the precise intersection. Using that intersection, I can draw a rectangle with a length of 500 mm and a width of 1000 mm. So can you see? So now not only the opening is precise, its position is also precise to the point. And now if there are more than one opening in the space, try to create everything in this single window itself. Once that is done, on the top right you have finished, click it, and your floor opening will precisely be created. And let's just say that you created an opening, but after that you don't want that opening. In that case, no worry. Go to your floor plan, select that opening, press delete button in your keyboard, it will be deleted. And don't worry, once an opening is deleted, cavity will automatically be filled in by the floor. Or if you want to edit the geometry, let's just say that you created an opening, but after that you want to make some edit to the profile of this opening, you can still do that. Click on the opening. In the floating window, can you see the second option named edit? Shortcut is Ctrl E. Click it, and this will again open that specific geometry alone in the edit window where you can do the editing. I can select the edge, I can reduce the size, I can reconfigure it. Once it is all done, just click on finish and your opening will be updated in your floor plan. And now you might be having another question. What if I want to create an opening in the ceiling? For that also the process is exactly the same. Okay, only thing is that instead of using the floor plan, try to do the same process in the ceiling plan. So can you see right now my ceiling plan, shortcut is 2, and now go to the floor plan tab here, click on the same floor opening tool. This will open up the edit window, and now we can use any of the geometries and guidelines to specify the position and specify the geometry of the opening. Once it is done, just click on finish, and now your opening is created on the ceiling. If you go to your 3D, can you see that opening is not there in your floor, but if you just tilt your camera and look above, you can precisely see that opening in your ceiling. So this is how you can create an opening in your floor and your ceiling slab. Now let's look into how we can create a balcony for this process. By this point you would have already noticed, while you are auto generating by importing the floor plan, your balcony is not created. No worries, you can manually create it. So here right next to your floor opening there is something called external area. Click it. This will open up the same edit window which we used for the opening, but now this window won't create an opening, it will create an external space here, something like your balcony or your landscape space. In my case, I have a balcony space at this point. I can click on the geometry, I can click on the point, and I can draw the geometry of the balcony. Okay, I can precisely type in the length and width of this balcony. In my case, the length is perfect, but the width of this balcony should be 1 meter, so I can type in the width. Once that is done, press enter. You precisely created a balcony. And if there are more than one balcony in this floor plan, try to create or in the same window itself. So I can create another balcony here which has a width of same 1 meter. Click it, press enter, it will be done. Or if my balcony has a different geometry, like I told, you can use any of this geometry components here, and you can create a custom shaped balcony as well. I can delete the line which is dividing it so that it will create into one single geometry. So once you created this geometry, on top right you have finish, click it. Now your balconies will precisely be created in your floor plan. And here don't worry about your finish of your flooring, wall and seal. We'll be covering that in your further sessions. And now let's just see how we can create a floor and a window opening. By this point you would have been a bit confused. We have already created a door and a window here, right? Why do we need to create a door and a window opening? Isn't it same? Actually it is not. Okay, Your door is different from your door opening. Your window is different from your window opening. Okay. Your door is nothing but in this tool. If you want to place a door, go to the same floor plan tab, scroll down. There is a specific category here named door and windows, where you have 3 types of doors and 3 types of windows. Your single door, double door and sliding door, and your linear window, bay window and your French awning windows. And if you just click on any door and place it, it will be placed. And if you had noticed, the door once placed here will automatically create the opening in the wall and the door component is placed. Unlike your conventional modeling tool, where if you want to place a door, you have to first create a cavity in your wall and then you have to download a door model and place it here, right? This is not the process here. If you want a door, directly select it and place it. The opening in the wall will automatically be created. If you want to move this door, select it. I can follow, drag and move, or I can precisely move using the clearance, based on which the opening will also be shifted depending on the position of the door or window. So this is what your door and windows. If you look at your door opening and window opening, it doesn't come with the door or window model. As the name suggests, it is just an opening. For example, let me just extend this wall here to this entire point. Now if I want to create a door opening at this wall, click on floor plan. There I have door opening. Click it and the door opening will attach to my cursor. Place it on the wall where you like to create that opening. Click it. And now if you go to your 3D, can you see? This is what your door opening here is. As the name suggests, it is just an opening. It doesn't have a door component inside. Okay. This is something which you can use to create an arched kind of an opening between two spaces or between your living and your dining. If you want to create an architrave of some sort, you can use this to precisely create that design here. And in this project, I want to create a arched opening between my living and this dining space. So right now, once I placed here, if I go look in 3D, can you see it is a rectilinear opening, right? But I want an arched opening and the width of this opening need to be much more wider as well. For that, just select the opening. On the right, can you see it is showing you the parameters of the opening. Yes, you can control the functionality of the opening using these parameters here. So where I can control the width of this opening, right now it is 1.2 meters. I can make it as 2 meters. And I can control the height of the opening, which is nothing but your lintel height. And I can even control the sill height of this opening. Since it is a door opening, I don't need to place a sill. So the distance from the ground can also be 0. And in addition to that, right now it is a rectilinear opening. But I said I want an arched opening, right? So can you see right now you have something called shape in the parameter. Currently it is rectangle. If you click it as arched, it will automatically be converted into an arched opening where I can control the arch height. What if I'm looking for a fillet opening? Instead of arched opening, I want a fillet opening on these two corners. That is where the third option comes in, which is arc. If you click it, it will precisely create a fillet opening on both the corners. So now I can type in the radius of the left corner fillet and I can type in the radius of the right corner fillet. So if I want a fillet radius of 300 mm, can you see it is precisely updated. Right now if I type in any dimension here, it will change commonly for your left and right corner because both these are linked. If I want to change this separately, I can break this link here and then I can type the left corner as 500 mm. I can type the right corner as 800 mm. It will precisely be created. Same process for your window opening as well. So go to your floor plan tab. Right next to your door opening, you have something called window opening. Click it. Position it on the wall where you like to create a window opening and it will be created. And now if you select that window opening on the right hand side, it will show you its respective parameters. Same like your door opening. You can use this window opening if you want to create a breakfast tub between your kitchen and your dining and so spaces. The last important tool which we are left with in the floor plan here is the niche. You can use this tool to create a niche in your wall. So if I just click on this niche, it will precisely ask me on which surface I would like to create this niche. If I want it on the inner surface or I want it on the outer surface. Same thing for this wall as well. So based on your requirement, you can precisely click it and your niche will be created. at that specific spot. If you go to your 3D, you can precisely see the niche option. And now if you click this niche, you will see its respective parameters on the right hand side here, where I can control the width of the niche, depth of the niche, height, and the arc height. Okay, in this case, if I want a niche width of about 500 mm, it will precisely be updated. I can even control the depth. In default, it will be 150 mm depending on the thickness of the wall. But if I want, I can even reduce or increase it based on the requirement. I can even control the height of the niche as well. So right now it is a rectilinear niche. What if I want the top side to be arched? That is where your arc height comes in. I can type in the arc height here. It will precisely create an arched opening for the niche. Not only that, I can control what should be the distance of this niche from the floor using this last option, distance from the ground. So if I want this to be exactly 500 mm from the floor, I can create it, or if I want this to be 800 mm from the floor, I can precisely do that as well. But what if I want to create n number of niches at the same position, where I want to create one niche here, on top of that I want to create another niche, so on and so forth. In that case, you have something called niche number here. Right now it is 1. You can type it. So if you want a 2 niche, click it, and 2 niche will precisely be created. Can you see? There is a clearance distance here between those niche, right? That clearance distance is decided by this niche spacing. Right now it is 20 mm, but if you want, you can type in your required spacing, it will be updated. Right now we created 2 niche here at the same point. If you want, I can even make it as 3 niches, and I can make all this niche into an arced niche as well. So this way you can create your niche for the wall and you can edit it. So with this, your tools within the floor plan tab is complete now. And once your basic model is done, the next immediate step should be your room names. So like I said, if a space has enclosure on all 4 sides, the tool itself will automatically consider that as a separate room and it will add a name for it. But if you want, you can click it and check if that naming is proper. So here when it comes to naming, you have 2 things you need to focus. One is called room type, another one is called room name. This room type is nothing but your room category, where if you click it, it will have some list of room names here which you can select it appropriate for your design. And the room type what you are selecting here will automatically be your room name as well. That way you can click on each space and check whether your room type and room name is proper. So that way I can click on this bedroom, and now here if you notice, I want this to be a master bedroom. But if I go to the room type here, I don't have a category name master bedroom. I have only bedroom. In that case, select it as a bedroom, and in the room name you can type it as master bedroom. So remember, the room name what you're typing is something that will be visible in your floor plan. So make sure that you precisely select the room type and you precisely type in the room name according to your design. So that way, if you notice, this is supposed to be my living room, so I can just click it, select it as a living room category, and the name will automatically be changed as living room. This is fine. And this space is supposed to be my utility area, so I can just click it. And here in the room type, can you see there isn't any space here named utility? In that case, select a category which is similar to the space what you're looking for. In my case, I'm looking for a utility which is almost similar to a storage space or a laundry space. I can select it, and in the room name, I can rename it as utility. Press enter. Right? So always remember this, if you are looking for a space and if you are not precisely able to find that in the room type, no worries, select the category which is similar to that space, and in the room name you can exactly rename it according to your design. So this is what when it comes to room type and room naming here is. This is a mandate process for all the spaces in your project. So with this, your section 2 of day 1 course is completed.